Hey there, funnel builders. How are you doing? Mike here from Sell Your Service. Today on this call, I wanted to go over how to build a webinar funnel the right way. I'm going to talk about how to build webinar funnels, particularly if you're doing it for your customers. If you're looking to sell webinar funnels, or if you're looking to create a standard process maybe for your webinar process, this video is going to show my webinar process as a map. It's the stuff that I've learned the hard way from presenting over 300 webinars over the past, I don't know how many years. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Let's get on with it. So there's a lot more work inside a webinar than I think people think. The goal is to make the webinar work for you and to do as much as you can to focus on the content and the copy. There's an enormous amount on the technical side that I think people worry about, like registration pages, how to deliver it. But I think people get hooked up on the wrong bit. I actually think the main thing that you should be focusing on within a webinar is the follow-up process afterwards. And then the other priority would also be the reminder process. I think too many people get caught up in the idea of focusing on the mechanics of the webinar, like when you have offers appear, or should you redirect people to a thank you page or anything like that. And while those are important, those aren't actually the things that will make or break a webinar. Most people who watch a webinar won't buy there and then. What they will do is they will buy if you continue to follow up with them. Think of the webinar as a kind of the proposal. If we're kind of doing this in your world where you give the proposal to the customer, think of the webinar as the proposal, and then the closing process afterwards is that continued follow-up process. Sales are made on the webinar, but you will tend to 3x to 10x the number of sales you make if you continue to follow up. There's also a misconception that live is best. It's actually a case of working out what your copy is. The reason I've done so many webinars and the reason I'm able to do recorded ones now is because I've done so many live ones now. I know the process, I know the flow, I know the beats that I'm hitting, I know the questions I'm answering. I've got on the phone and closed people, I've had meetings with people, so I'm able to put that into a process that's recorded now. There's no such thing as best, I can assure you. I've been on as many live webinars where the presentation has been absolutely atrocious, but I've been on loads of recorded webinars where they've been absolutely outstanding. So don't worry about the technicalities, don't worry about the opt-in process or anything. I'm going to show you my kind of high-level overview map of how I build webinars that generate tens of thousands of dollars in sales. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move myself down here. Hello. Sorry, my screen that I'm using, my laptop's a bit of a weird shape, so that's why it kind of is on the other side. So here's the first thing we're going to look at. So the first thing I want us to be aware of is the registration page. Now your registration page is very important, but it doesn't need to be complex. It can be super simple. This is where people are going to give their email address, and it's critical that you make it as easy as possible for people to opt in. This could be done in a multitude of ways. I used to build mine out in Beaver Builder, just using their form, like I think they call it their subscriber form. I know that things like Elementor and Divi have them. You could use lead pages. If you've got a funnel building software, whatever, they'll have some kind of opt-in page. This is essentially the opt-in, and this is why this is so important, because the email address is how you continue to market from them. The thing that most people get hung up on, though, is the design, and that's not the most important piece, I can assure you. We have got extremely simple designs, just one column now, but what is important is the headline and the hook at the top. This is basically telling them, like, why would I bother signing up in the first place? So this area here, the headline, is absolutely critical, because what this does is set the frame for what are they going to walk away from if they join. A lot of people try to pile too much into the headline, and they say, oh, I'm going to teach you weight loss and fat loss and how to get fitter and how to get leaner and how to build muscle and how to build a perfect gym. It's like, just strip it all back. Ultimately, what are they getting? If you go through all of that, it's probably something like how to feel more confident in your body and not have to go on a diet. Our most recent one was how to sell a $25,000 marketing funnel. Previous to that, it was how to get clients for your business without spending a cent on advertising. The more focused and specific your headline is, the higher the opt-in rate will be, because it needs to be as least confusing or as clear and concise as possible. This part here, where people are redirected, in an ideal world, you would have them go to some kind of like thank you page with like a sales letter. But truth be told, you don't need something like that. This thank you page or confirmation at its basis needs to just tell them like the date, the time that they've registered for, and maybe a countdown if you've got it. But honestly, if you're doing this for the first time, if you're really making this as simple as possible, I wouldn't worry too much about this. You just want to make sure that they are aware that they have signed up. What most people do now is basically wait until the actual date of the webinar, and then they just go, right, we're going to go live. They assume that people who have joined have put it in their calendar, they've put time aside. They're also assuming that like nothing's going to come up over the next week. The hard work actually begins after the opt-in. This is why this is so important to get this down pat, because anyone who opts in is going to be added to an email list. It's my favorite thing in the world, is building the email list. And you're going to send reminders, regular reminders, via email marketing, potentially via some other methods as well, like potentially via ads as well, because you're going to want to remind them when the actual live webinar is. So I'm using my new tablet, so that's why my that's why my lines are all skew with. I like to remind people, if I'm promoting it beforehand, 1 week, 1 day, 1 to 1/2 of the hour, and also when we're live. So I like to send 4 reminder emails with the links through to that same page. I just want to keep reminding them, and I'll keep reminding them of the benefits, keep reminding them of the topic, keep reminding them of who I am. I want to really drive that home so that they understand that we are going live on this date, and I'll repeatedly remind them of what that is. On the actual day of the webinar, this is when we do the live presentation. Would you believe I did product design at uni? As I get used to my tablet here. On the actual webinar itself, people kind of say about length and time. We've all been on them. They're typically 90 minutes. They're typically 60 minutes of education and then 30 minutes of sales. I've been on webinars that have just been 30 minutes of pure sales. I've been on webinars that are 60 minutes long and included the sales message. I've been on webinars that are 45 minutes long and had like a 20-minute sales message. There's so many ways to split it up. Again, if you join webinars and start attending them and try to kind of step out of it a little bit and understand how people are running them, what you're trying to do is give as much value up front. You really want to help them and give as much value up front as you can, because the hard work comes afterwards. Yes, you are going to make an offer, and what I do is I set up a special URL and a page, and that page then goes through to one of my like checkout pages where people can actually buy. And I don't take them to a sales page at that point. I'll take them to the checkout page, and I'll say, on the call, okay, and this is available for $5,000 or $2,000 or $200 or whatever it is. Just head to sellyourservice.co.uk/funnel or website.com/checkout, and that'll take you there. If at the end of the call, if I can, I will automatically redirect people either to a sales letter or to the checkout page. Again, just test it. It's not going to make or break your webinar. Here's what's going to make or break your webinar. Every single person who attended and every single person who didn't attend, I want to then send email marketing. And what I tend to do is I tend to send them 1 email the day after. I send them 2 emails the day after that. And I send them 3 emails the day after that. So on day 1, 1 email. On day 2, 2 emails. And on day 3, 3 emails. I've heard people call this a 1, 2, 3 sequence, unsurprisingly. Typically, this is where I'll remind them of the replay. I'll also remind them of the replay here. I'll remind them of the offer. I'll then put in a really basic like gain, logic, loss sequence from Digital Marketer. So this is kind of like really heavily benefits focused. And then the logic aspect might be like testimonials maybe. And then the loss aspect just reaffirms like what are they losing if they don't buy it. Potentially that could be like if you're running a special offer or a special deal, but also if they have if you have a scarcity based process that's actually coming into their business, that can actually be more powerful than taking the offer away. It's one thing to say, look, we're doing a cart opening, or we're doing a lifetime deal, or doors are closing on our course in 3 days time. It's a completely different one to say, look, do you want to keep missing out on sales? Do you want to keep missing out on time with your family? Like every day you don't lose that extra kilo or that extra pound is going to be harder. So personally, I actually think that external trends that are facing them and chasing them are more powerful than the loss sequence. Other than that, I then personally, when we run this, I will measure everyone who visited and almost purchased. So all of this is designed to get people who have visited sales pages, and I will then continue to follow up with them, and I will also follow up with everyone who almost bought as well. So I'll create 2 lists, and that's when I'll continue to close. The fortune is in the follow-up. It's really important that we understand that it's not a case of everyone's going to buy immediately. So quick run through again of that. Registration page, keep your headline nice and tight, nice and simple. Redirect them to a thank you page. In an ideal world, you would actually place like a video sales letter and try to immediately upsell them a product. But if you're just doing this for the first time, I wouldn't worry too much about that kind of stuff. The idea is you want to make sure they go onto an email list, and you remind them with the 1-1-1 rule. 1 week before, 1 day before, 1 hour before, or half an hour before. And I also like to tell them when we're live, and you send them the link to the actual webinar call. What you can do is you can take your webinar, take the actual video itself and create a new page, and then that's your replay page. And what I like to do with this is we have a few different options. Like we'll have like a just-in-time option. We'll have one that's like every 15 minutes. We'll have one that's every Thursday. And it means that anyone who opts in is actually then shown that same, eventually that same replay. We still then use the 1, 2, 3 sequence afterwards to anyone who signed up. That becomes like the sales campaign, the follow-on campaign for them. And I will still have automation coming through of anyone who's opted in. I'll say, well, who has almost bought? Who has run through the checkout process and almost bought? Who has actually visited the page? And we'll follow up with them as well. So at a really high level, that is how I build my webinar sequences. They can get way more complex than this. This is as simple as I have found that the process works. At the bare minimum, the number one thing to focus on is either practicing your opt-ins and registrations, and practicing the actual the webinar pitch itself, and getting really good at focusing and doing that webinar pitch. That's what I would focus on. If I had to prioritize, I would prioritize, let me do this in green here, I would prioritize the registration page, and then I would prioritize the actual pitch itself, and everything else can come afterwards. You can get better at everything else as you go. If you're already building webinars, let me know what you're using in the comments down below. I have started using Webinar Kit. I absolutely love it. This is not like a sales video or anything, but Webinar Kit is what I've been using. Let me show you this. I have got an affiliate link down below. There we go. Down below if you want to check this out. This will take care of literally everything except the actual call. As I mentioned, this is not like a hardcore sales message, but if you are wondering like how am I going to get all of this stuff done, a really simple piece of software to use is Webinar Kit. I've got a full review of that coming out later, but yeah, I have found Webinar Kit basically takes care of everything except presenting the webinar, and that's a process that's trial and error and a lot of learning and education anyway. But yeah, Webinar Kit does the registration pages, does the reminder emails, does the replay pages, does the live chat, so you can start answering questions and closing people as well. If you are using Webinar Kit already or something else, let me know. I'd love to know what software you use or what your process is down in the comments below. If there was something particularly useful, please just let me know in the comments. Also, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell notification icon as well. And also go ahead and share this, because it really helps me out if you're a funnel builder. In the meantime, I've probably got another video, maybe either side of my head here. There we go, as I lean over in my little Halloween pumpkin t-shirt. Talking about how to sell different types of funnels, like in the broadest possible sense. So you can go ahead and check that out. In the meantime, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Have courage, commit, and take action.